Hi there, students. Skull. The skull. The skull is this bone which my brain is inside. The skull is the bone inside my head. Okay, so your skull. But we've got quite a few phrases with skull as well. For example, the skull and crossbones. Captain Jack Sparrow, the pirate's flag. Okay, so the pirate ship was carrying the skull and crossbones. You could be bored out of your skull, extremely bored. The teacher's lesson went on and on and on, and the students were bored out of their skulls, bored to the point of distraction. I was bored out of my skull. I wanted to scream, but the teacher was trying to get the concept into their thick skulls. Yeah, if you say somebody's got a thick skull, they're rather obtuse, they're pretty slow. So to get something through someone's thick skull, to make somebody learn something when they're not very good, you could hammer it into their thick skulls. So I guess if somebody's thick skull, generally you're saying that they find it difficult to learn. If you are out of your skull, you are intoxicated on alcohol or drugs, but to a very high degree, or maybe you're out of your skull with worry. The point with out of your skull is you are out of control. You are in a strange state. Okay, so he was out of his skull. Okay, so to a skull buster. This is an American phrase. This is a really intense headache. Oh, I've got a terrible skull buster. I need an aspirin or two. A question that's really confusing and you just can't find the answer could also be a skull buster. Or a skull popper. Question 17 was a real skull buster. It was a real skull popper. And then finally, a skull buster. I've heard a policeman referred to as a skull buster as well. Okay, so your skull. If you're out of your skull, you're intoxicated on alcohol. They were all out of their skulls at the party. I hope that I can get it through my thick skull that I can only come on Mondays. Monday is the only day when this place is open. The skull and crossbones, the pirate flag, to have a thick skull, to be a bit dim-witted, to be a slow learner, to be inflexible or stubborn. So I've always had a thick skull when it comes to maths. He's so thick-skulled, there's no way I can get him to change his mind. I guess we have a few collocations. A fractured skull is where your skull is actually broken. Okay, so he fell off his bicycle and fractured his skull. So he ended up with a skull fracture. So, formality. Well, the word skull itself, 5 in formality, use anywhere. Out of your skull, 3 in formality. I need to get this through your thick skull. 3.5, maybe 4 in formality. I was bored out of my skull, 3.5 in formality. Skull and crossbones, 5 in formality, use anywhere. And then as to origin, probably from Old Norse, scully, meaning a bald head or a skull. So, enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Skull and crossbones. Out of your skull, thick skull.